this was the impetus for me starting Tembo Education, because I saw all these different countries and the children there. And I thought, how could we educate people to solve their own problems? So we're not just giving the fish, we're teaching people how to fish, that old adage. And when I looked into the different markets of education, I saw there was two things being done, either a mobile app or building schools. Because everyone's doing water, health, housing, but those things can be taken away from you and people can donate them. But I figured, why not use a more sustainable approach? Let's educate people to solve their own problems. And when I looked into the age group that's most imperative, it's 0 to 6. 90% of the brain is formed by that age. So I figured, okay, 0 to 6. Let me see what's already being done in the world for these two. It was mobile apps and schools. The issue with mobile apps, only smartphones can use them. And the majority of the world did not have a smartphone at this time in 2015. So I said, okay, smartphones, the ones that do have them can't afford the mobile data to run the app consistently. So smartphones and mobile apps are not the answer. Let's look into schools. I was blown away, Garrett, with how many schools are in developing nations. You'd be surprised. But the issue is they're more like 4 walls, little to no materials. Teacher attendance is low. Sometimes they don't even have a curriculum. So I said, okay, schools do not equate to an education. What are people using every day? Text messages. It's the most used communication platform in the world still to this day. So I figured, let's educate the children using text messages. So we send 1 activity per day to the parent's phone. Parent educates their child, and then we reward the parent for educating their child to incentivize them using behavioral economics. And people always ask, well, how much can you really fit in a text message?
Right.
We need to get away from screen time. Kids are dependent on their phones. The American Pediatric Association recommends no screen time for children 2 and under. And I'll go off on a rant on that in just a moment. But this allows you to engage with your child, not provide a screen for them to be a babysitter. It texts the parent 1 activity per day. Parent educates their child on that day's activity instructions, and it covers all 4 domains of learning: language, cognitive, motor, and social emotional. And it's derived from research done by Harvard, Pearson, Lego, PBS, and it's based on the Harvard Center for the Developing Child's developmental milestones. So it's covering all the developmental milestones of the brain as they age. Because I figured, if you're going to make an investment, right, you're an investor, are you going to do it when you have 10% of the impact or 90% of the impact? Mm-hmm. In Finland and South Korea, they typically perform the highest in early childhood education assessments. Why is that? Their smartest teachers teach the youngest children. In the US, it's the exact opposite. Our smartest teachers typically are professors at major universities. There, it's the exact opposite, and they have the same prestige as a doctor, a lawyer, and usually it's the top 3% of the graduating class of the education programs that are allowed to teach the youngest children, because they know they're going to have 90% of the ROI at that age, 0 to 6. So that's why I picked that age group, and why I started it originally in Nigeria. We're in the US, we're in 7 countries now, 5 languages. But the reason I started in Nigeria is sub-Saharan Africa has more 0 to 6-year-old children than anywhere in the world. Wow. And they have an average birth rate of 5.5 children per mother in Nigeria. So I figured, if I can build it in Nigeria, I can build it anywhere. Man. But we're in the US as well. And that was really the impetus for wanting to educate children. I really think that Nelson Mandela nailed it on the head when he said, education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. That's how we're going to lead to solutions globally and long term. You know, right now, a lot of people are betting on the Elon Musks of the world, the Bill Gateses of the world, Steve Jobs. Why not create more of them? More global change makers. Instead of relying on one person, let's mitigate our risks and not put, just like Elon's trying to create a multi-planetary species, right? He wants to bring humans to Mars. To mitigate our risk, hedge our bets, we should do the same with some of these global change makers. So our goal is to create more global change makers, educating the earliest age possible. And that's really the impetus for Tembo.
Hey guys, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, click right here. Make sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Thank you for watching.